mighty companions to share their light with us, their joy, their peace. And if you all are ready, I will hand the mic over to you, Glenn and Yolanda.
Woo! Hey y'all. I am bountiful. Yeah, right. I am beautiful. I am blessed. I am. We were going all over the place. We were taking it key changes and all over the place. But that was for fabulous. Everybody. That is a mantra that comes from the Kundalini tradition. Yeah. You can find out lots and lots of versions of it, and it goes. And this is a lot of to come from this place is what we're all about. To come from the place is I am the light of my soul. I am bountiful. Beautiful. I am beautiful. I am bliss. I am bliss. I am. But I'm going to do this. I love. This is our mantra. This is our mantra. Welcome to the Mighty Companions, everybody. We've gotten off to a really raucous start today. But this is our mantra. I love myself. I love myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. My life feels good. My life feels good. And I can have what I want. I can have what I want. And I choose joy. I choose joy. And I choose peace. I choose peace. For all being. For all being. For all life. For all life. For the universe. For the universe. Because I love myself. Loka samasta sukino bhavantu. Wow. Okay. Doggies is right. How is everybody today? We have so much to share with you. We're so happy. We're so elated. I find a new freedom and a new sense of purpose, and it's all about knowing what your programs are and how to delete them. And I was like, who's been on a retreat for a week? Wow, I know, right? One thing though, know thyself. That I want to say, know thyself. Mm-hmm. Which is the path of knowledge, and the path of the heart, the path of service is also another thing. So the path of knowledge and the path of service and how they intersect, I think, especially for us, and how they overlap for all of us in the community. And so that's something I want to start off with, but also this is our sing-along song that you know, but it means so much. So in the discussion of the retreat, the keys to the kingdom, releasing yourself from the ego's habits, we discovered that the ego is basically your programming from birth to 7 years old, and that runs your life if you're not aware of it, if you can't see it. And then, okay, so I see it, what to do, you know? Well, the Course has a very, very practical solution. And as we've been singing this song over the years, and right here it's become our theme song. It's getting deeper and deeper and deeper, the understanding. So here we go. Sing it with us. Let things be.
Let things be.
Exactly as they are.
Exactly as they are.
You can't change me.
You can't change me.
You can't change God.
'Cause you can't change God.
So let things be.
Let things be.
Exactly as they are.
Exactly as they are.
And you and me.
You and me.
We'll live in peace.
We live in peace.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know
what anything is for.
what anything is for.
Unless I listen to
That
still small voice.
That still small voice
Telling me.
is telling me
This simple truth.
this simple truth.
That everything is for my good.
It's for my good. So
let things be.
we let things be
Exactly as they are.
exactly as they are.
You can't change me.
You can't change me.
You can't change God.
'Cause you can't change God.
So let things be.
I let things be
Exactly as they are.
exactly as they are.
And you and me.
You and me.
We'll live in peace.
We live in His favorite
I'm not
verse.
this body.
I'm not this body.
I'm not this body. I'm not these thoughts. I'm not these feelings. I am as God.
I am as God.
Created me.
God created me.
And we are all.
We are all
one family.
one family.
And it's possible.
It's possible
to live in peace.
we live in peace.
So let things
Come
be.
on, let things be
Exactly as they are.
exactly as they are.
You can't change me.
You can't change me.
You can't change God.
'Cause you can't change God.
So let things be.
I let things be
Exactly as they are.
exactly as they are.
And you and me.
You and me.
We'll live in peace.
We live in peace. Kumbaya. Did you get the kumbaya in there? Did you get the kumbaya this time?
Kumbaya, mama.
I know.
So, gosh,
That's where we are.
that's where we are. And so much, there's so much in the moment. There's so much joy, there's so much peace. Everything is right here in the moment. Welcome, Donna. Welcome, everybody that's joining us. So, our theme for today, which also Let Things Be reflects,
It does.
is this idea of forgiving God. Now,
Right.
Glenn and I and our Wednesday night classes have been discussing this for about
2 weeks.
and we haven't had a topic that has been so discussed or so looked at before, and so that's actually
there was a lot. There was some anger.
Yeah.
And some tears. And some really kind of arguments about what forgiving God, what entails in forgiving God. If you'd like to see exactly what I'm talking about, you might be familiar with chapter 24.
In A Course in Miracles.
In A Course in Miracles. It's kind of funny because chapter 24 it's about couples and relationships, 2 and 4. Chapter 24.
Oh, 2
it's kind of interesting. It's about specialness. She talks for about 15 pages on specialness. And this week we're going to talk about your own specialness, and the way out of it is to forgive God.
Well, see,
which is really counter. It's like, what? Everybody in our class is like you can hear the record going, a needle going across the record. Forgive God. You can hear that sound go off, and everybody said, "Hey, Susan."
Hey, Susan.
So,
glad you're here.
if you have the book, or you look at the book at all, it's chapter 24, section 4, the forgiveness of specialness. We're going to look at that today.
And gosh, what a wonderful idea, forgiving God, that I came to the retreat with. And I wanted to share a couple of things that I learned. If I can bring this up here.
What do you want?
Oh, no, just this one here. As we were meeting together all last week,
some things occurred to me. And the first thing is, you know, my definition of God, right?
Yeah.
So
that has realized that that's open for discussion.
yes.
That has to be analyzed and understood what our own understanding of God is.
Now, in our discussion, we were, we always say God is love. God is unconditional love. So what does that mean? And Regina pointed out the law of love is amoral, and that's a word to you. It makes you go, what?
What? God is immoral?
Not immoral.
Amoral.
Amoral. So meaning that everything is allowed to happen, and that was a reason for me to forgive God.
I know.
Let things be. I know. Let things be exactly as they are. That's a reason for me to forgive God.
Yeah, it's true.
This idea of a being out there that might give you what you want if you beg them, to do so.
It's very subtle.
And yeah, that slips in there, And so I am working with the idea of forgiveness as seeing beyond the illusion and able to identify the programs that run me so that I can stop and let things be and take a breath and do my practices, And so mantra is a big
thing for us.
Big thing for us, and that's why I write so many songs like that. But the other thing that I wanted to share before we move on was a part of NTI. It's NTI Ephesians chapter 5. And
NTI is New Testament interpreted.
Right, the interpretation of the New Testament that came through Regina Dawn Akers, for those of y'all that are listening that don't know. And it's an amazing book, an interpretation of the New Testament. So in this chapter, Ephesians chapter 5, this is what I highlighted that I thought was really amazing that I wanted to emphasize for you today. Be grateful for the process that is you. Be grateful for all it is and all that it teaches you, for it teaches clearly what you are. The process does.
I know.
Wow.
It's trustworthy. It's reliable.
Yes. Be thankful that you have learned, and do not fear the past. It is merely a reflection. Boy, those were words of relief.
Encouragement.
And encouragement. Yeah. So, there we go. Yeah. That was just life-giving, and I wanted to share how that impacted me.
You also have some more news.
I do have some more news. October is a big month for us. It's our wedding month.
I know.
We got married on Halloween night. But also, it is LGBTQAI plus coming out day. So it's coming out month. And in the celebration of coming out month, people find out a lot about who their allies are. So I wanted to share with you that I've written a song for all of my allies, and so many of you in our Awakening Together community are in my ally group, and I love you so much. And I began to realize and be grateful for all of the allies in my life, starting in the 4th grade with one of my friends. And everybody used to, bully me and stuff. And there was a girl in the 4th grade that became my friend. And because she became my friend, they started calling her Queero. So I wrote a song called Queero, and we're going to premiere this song and storybook on October 20th, but I wanted to give you a taste now. We're releasing a storybook, and the artwork is by an amazing artist by the name of Ben Wu. So I'm going to give you a little taste of the video and storybook and a taste of the song that's coming up on October 20th. Okay.
A girl, they called her Queero. was my friend. She was my hero. We are queer.
I know, it's so fun. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So the thing is that this friend of mine has been such a source of love and inspiration for me my entire life. So I encourage us, whether we're queer or not, to look at all the allies that we have in our lives and be really grateful for them.
Yeah, because we, as this group is called, it's called Awakening
Together.
and they're mighty companions.
Right, yes.
We're not supposed to be doing this by ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we must be able to reach out and say, I'm hurting, or I don't know what's going on, or you do this better than me. Would you help me do this? Or or to stand up and say, I know how to do that. And I can help you with that. We do this as a part of a community. Right. We do this. We awaken together because we need all of us. Yeah. There is there's no God without all of us.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. All of us.
I know. With that
note. So, as some of you know that have visited us often, I like to do a thing that I call the Circle of Love meditation, and today I want to bring into our circle certainly everything that we like and everything that we don't like. That's my go-to. And specifically, all the things that may be tempted to upset us in the world, politically, personalities, all of these big things that we see.
Our body happenings.
Yeah, things happening to our body and our physical world, and we know that well, Jesus put it this way: there will always be this going on with us in the world, and so finding sanctuary with each other and finding that which is true and reaching for our tools, seeing the programs that run us and being willing to look at them and watch them dissolve and replace those programs with the wonderful tools that we have.
The truth.
Right.
Yes. The truth of who we are.
The truth of who we are. That's our work. And you know what? That's what I came away from so solidly from the retreat. I am gangbusters about this practice. I am so jazzed
full of zeal for what is mine to do in the world.
Yes,
to quote Eric Butterworth.
Yes, I know, he was so great. I am full of zeal to do that which is mine to do in the world, and I love that. And I really feel that way. I want to say hi to Reverend Jacqueline. Thanks for being here. Later on, toward the end of our time together, I'm going to show you a video called Control Queen, and I mentioned this song in our retreat, but I wanted to show you the video because it is really funny, and I think you'll get a kick out of it.
It's classic Yolanda. This is
chewing the scenery.
Yeah, this is chewing the scenery. This is from her award-winning cabaret show. So
that's good. So that's going to be later on. But first, let's go into this circle of love together.
Prepare for a song and a meditation.
And a song
so we can hear the
afterwards. Lesson. Yeah, because so we're going to do the circle of love and the 3 bells. Take 3 deep breaths, the last breath on an Om, and we'll go into the circle of love with a moment of silence and come out with my interpretation of the mantra Adeste Ades, which is all honor to the mystery whose attributes cannot be described, no end and no beginning. The love that is life, the sacred mystery is here to guide me home where my soul is free. So we're gonna
I am the light of my soul.
celebrate that. I'm the light of my soul, which Reverend Don played right when we were coming in. All right, let's breathe together. We are co-creating a circle of love. We, right here in this Awakening Together sanctuary, we, right here together in the sanctuary, in our homes, in our buildings, in our neighborhoods, in our cities, our streets, and our world, we are co-creating a circle of love. And this circle of love includes everything that we like and everything that we do not like. It is all holy. It is all included in the circle of love. And this circle of love wells up from inside of us because it is us. We are made of this unconditional love, this freedom that is inside of us. We see past the illusion. We see the programs that are running us, and we laugh, and we stop, and we go, ah, I caught myself. And we affirm what is true. We affirm that I am the light of my soul. I am bountiful. I am beautiful. I am bliss. I am the light of my soul. I am bountiful. I am beautiful. I am bliss. I am. Let's go into the silence for just a moment with those affirmations. Just to say a day. Just to say a day. Adenila nadana. Adenila nadana. Juga 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 echo verse. Juga, 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 echo verse. Juga, echo verse. The knowledge of the universe is right before my very eyes. The knowledge of the universe lives and breathes and sings and sighs. The love that is life, the sacred mystery is here to guide me home. My soul is free.
say are dead.
A death to say are dead.
Adanila Nadanat.
Adanila Nadanat.
Juga, 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 echo this.
Juga, 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 echo this.
Juga, echo this. A death to say are dead.
A death to say are dead.
Adanila Nadanat.
Adanila Nadanat.
Juga, 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 echo this.
Juga, 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 echo this.
Juga, echo this. All honor to the mysteries, whose attributes cannot be described. No end and no beginning. The dimension of the limitless. Love that is life. The sacred mystery is here to guide me home, where my soul is free.
Oh,
A death to
thank
say a
you.
death.
Yes.
So why is it so hard to identify as that?
Mm.
Why,
Mm.
a lot of us have trouble. We can say something else is good, or something else is beautiful, or something else is infinite, or something else is eternal.
Mm.
But we often have difficulty, or we're learning to have less difficulty, perhaps,
Yes, I think
with
we are.
identifying with what is eternal,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Identifying with what is true,
Mm.
identifying with what the Course says cannot be attacked.
Yeah.
What part of us is that cannot be attacked?
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's not your programs from the birth until age 7. We all know that.
Right. So she brings the Course in Miracles, as you know, you may be able to remember that you can read A Course in Miracles every year if you will read 12.8 pages a week. And if you read 12.8 pages a week, you'll find yourself around chapter 24, which is how I choose what we do. And there's a reason why. And if you're doing the lessons, right? We've got about 100 lessons left today.
Yeah.
What's the lesson
Well,
today?
I forgot to look. Let me look because I got so busy doing other things. I was in.
We do the lesson every morning, but we don't always.
I'll look. Go ahead.
So, the text tracks the lessons. Did you know that? That if you're reading the Course, then you're doing the lessons, they go together.
Right.
Okay. So the Course in Miracles is divided into, say this every week, and it's just important to remember, context is everything. Hermeneutics is everything when you're talking about this is what a book says. Okay.
Oh.
I know. See, that's why I wanted you to read it.
This is good. Okay.
So, so the Course in Miracles is basically in two sections. The first section is walking away from or leaving what you do not want. You're in pain, you're in trouble, or whatever it is, and you've decided that you're going to try to move away from what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a kind of a running with your head, with your looking behind you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then you go on the hero's journey, and you discover that you have what you need, that you are who you were looking for, that you're everything, that you have everything that you need to fulfill yourself, and that you have a role and a thing that you cannot wait to give to the world, and that your practice is to be present so that you can give it away. Well, how do you give it away? We're still in we still live in a society. You're still in a relationship. The world didn't wake up and become a nice place just because you did. Nothing
That's
changed
true.
when you wake. One of my favorite things Adyashanti says is, "There's no, the awakening offers you absolutely nothing in the world, but it does offer you a chance at experiencing what is real." And so, we spent the last about 2 weeks ago. We talked about the obstacles to peace, and we've talked about the laws of chaos. There's a reason why the second half of the book, she goes, this is why it's difficult to give yourself away. Because there's laws of chaos that are built into society. We call those the programming. Yolanda was talking about that. And the obstacles to peace, we call that the programming. The biggest obstacles to peace is that we are somehow managed to convince ourselves that there's a substitute for love. That there's a substitute, something else that's going to satisfy us other than being present to who we are and what we are and God and reality and what doesn't change, right? You remember the three things that the Course in Miracles starts out with? You remember what the first thing?
Nothing real can be threatened.
Nothing unreal exists, and herein lies the peace of God. So what are you?
The peace of God.
Real. The peace of God.
Right.
And you cannot, and you cannot be threatened.
Right.
So if all of that is true, what's so difficult about being you?
The programs that we've
Why
learned from
would you think that this was that anything is set up for you not to win this game?
Right.
Not to be happy. Or why would we go along with because we don't believe that. We don't actually believe that, I'm all that in a bag of chips. We don't believe that we're bountiful. We don't believe that we're beautiful. We don't believe that we're bliss. We don't believe that we are that burning bush. When it was Moses, wasn't it?
Yes.
Was it Moses? Okay, yeah. When Moses was on mushrooms in the desert, remember that? When saw the bush that wouldn't like go away, and he goes, "Who are you?" He's talking to this bush. The guy had to, "Who are you?" And he heard the bush say, "I am." I mean,
I am bountiful,
I know.
beautiful, bliss.
I am. So this is because that's a really good metaphor for a window into seeing what is beyond, seeing what is living through the bush. The thing that's in the bush that doesn't die is there and is living, and you recognize it as yourself, right? So why is this so difficult? Well, chapter 24 is where you would want to look to find out what is so difficult and how to get out of it.
Okay, slam that book on the table.
So,
I'm telling you.
I know. If I had a podium and a big black book, I would pound the big black book. I would.
He's the son of a Southern preacher man.
Oh, it is. Chapter.
Well, do you
yes,
want me to read
yes,
no. This is good because it goes.
I know. That's why I say,
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at the course and you're reading it, look at the lessons that are associated with that part of the text. It'll be a really good way to remember this and maybe get a mantra out of it.
So, well, yeah, I should write a song about this one. Okay, listen to this one. Lesson 277. Let me not bind your son with the laws I made.
Right.
Your son is free, my father. Let me not imagine I have bound him with the laws I made to rule the body. He's not subject to any laws I made by which I try to make the body more secure.
Or is he?
He is not changed by what is changeable. See, you can't change me, you can't change God. He is not slave to any laws of time. Love that. He is as you created him because he knows no law except the law of love. There's more, but that you know.
So our difficulty often in being in the world is that we want to police other people's behavior.
We do.
We want to police their bodies through space.
Yeah.
We want to determine about what kind of hair they can, what kind of hair they can have, what color hair they can have. We want to say you have to wear your pants at a certain level on your waist and not below.
Right.
We want to police bodies through space. We police ideas. We police bodies. We police all kinds of things. Good reminder because we took too many. Yeah. So
the vision.
There are tons and tons and tons of ways in which the universe, and this is very relevant, the universe is trying to get us to wake up. The universe is there to support our awakening. The universe is there to support our ability to interact with what is real. Why are we could be taking more advantage of it if we knew the blocks to the awareness of the presence of love. One of those blocks is specialness. And the first sentence in this section is, forgiveness is the end of specialness.
Because I can see through the illusion.
Right. Forgiveness is the end of specialness. Only illusions can be forgiven.
Right.
I want you to associate the word forgiveness and illusion together.
That's what I'm doing right now in my life.
Associate forgiveness and illusion together.
Yeah.
Forgiveness,
you can see
you can only forgive what is not true. And the part that's really is a sticker for a lot of us is forgiveness isn't partial. It means that you've learned the lesson and you're not going to pick it up again. Right? It means if you have forgiven, then you don't you don't do it again. You've learned the lesson. You can see through it. You can't. You know the old phrase that I say a lot. It goes, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Right? You never go backwards and decide, oh, I'm going to pick up this illusion again. Forgiveness means you're determined. I am determined to see. I am determined to see things differently.
And I'm gangbusters about
I know, gangbusters. It's the most exciting work in the world. So don't. It's the attempt to. If we have forgiven, we don't pick up the illusion again, right? So the question, the very first question to get at this, how this programming or how this principle works in our lives, this forgiveness principle is, what about ourselves is so unforgivable? What is so unforgivable about ourselves?
You got to do some looking at yourself to
you have to go there with somebody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to really be able to let yourself be seen by somebody. And often what we find most unforgivable about ourselves is the inability to manipulate somebody else. We really can't get somebody to do what we want to in the world or act the way we want them to do, and we cannot forgive ourselves. For my grandfather committed suicide. My mother to this day kind of feels like I could have done more about this. I've had friends that have died of HIV and all kinds of things. I've had I used to be a sex worker in the 80s, and a lot of those people are dead. And I was one of the few people that got out of that little scene that I was working with. What's unforgivable? Could I have done more to save some of these people's lives? A lot of what we feel that's unforgivable in our lives is this misunderstanding of what community is this misunderstanding of what we are to do in the world. Yes, I'm your savior, and yes, you're my savior, but in the sense that you're saving me from my own ignorance. And I cannot pull you into reality. I can only be a source of reality for you. That's way, way more powerful. It took me a lifetime to figure that out. So in the second paragraph, she says, specialness that you cherish is called sin. Specialness that you cherish is called sin.
Missing the mark.
Missing the mark.
Because you
So,
cherish
but
it.
the things that we defend are the things that we don't want to admit are true about ourselves. Right? When we won't apologize for being unconsciously racist or misogynist or homophobic or whatever it is, we find it difficulty to say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. You're right. I won't do it again." And that be the end of it. No, we defend it and say, "No, I don't want to be that thing. I don't want to be." But a racist isn't an identity. It's a performance of culture. Okay, so there's no way you can be a racist. You can do racism, but you can't be a racist because racist isn't an identity. Think about that.
Okay.
So we defend it against the truth. So specialness, she says very clearly in this paragraph, is your enemy. What you want to be different, what you want to defend against, your own personal set of ignorance, your own personal set of things that you don't like about yourself or you think other people don't like about yourself is the real enemy, not reality, not love. And you're using your fight against this illusion, this forgiveness, instead of participating with God or learning who you are or being about what you're about to, or being about what you're about. So she reminds us that at the end of this paragraph, she goes, truth isn't frail.
Yeah.
Truth isn't frail. You don't have to wonder about it. It is true. Truth is true.
Right.
It doesn't need our defense.
Right.
We do. We need to be able to align ourselves with truth, and that takes forgiveness. That takes forgiveness of siding with our own ignorance over what is true, siding with our own privilege over ignorance. You know, it's a difficult thing to really see for yourself, and that's where she comes in and she says this. I want you to read this for me, sweetie.
Okay. Okay.
So,
from that one?
Yeah. Here.
From whatever? Okay. This is really cool. All right. Whatever form of specialness you cherish, you have made sin.
Inviolate it stands.
Inviolate it stands, strongly defended with all your puny might against the will of God, and thus it stands against yourself, your enemy, not God's. It is not you who are so vulnerable and open to attack that just a word, a little whisper that you do not like, a circumstance that suits you not, or an event that you did not anticipate upsets your world and hurls it into chaos. Truth is not frail. But specialness is not the truth in you. It can be thrown off balance by anything. Specialness can be thrown off balance by anything. It is your specialness that is attacked by everything that walks and breathes or creeps and crawls or even lives at all. Nothing is safe from its attack, and it is safe from nothing. Specialness stands like a flaming sword of death between them and makes them enemies.
I love this. She gets real Dr. Seuss on y'all. It is your specialness that is attacked by everything that walks and breathes or creeps and crawls or even lives at all. And specialness, I love this. I love this metaphor she uses for the specialness as a flaming sword. The flaming sword that stands between you and death. You remember what that references to?
It's some biblical angel
when
a flaming sword.
Adam and Eve were kicked out of heaven.
Right. Yeah.
God placed an angel with a flaming sword that said nobody's getting into the Garden of Eden again.
Right. According to that legend.
According to that story.
Yeah.
So we place our specialness like that flaming sword that keeps us out of the Garden of Eden. We use what's different from us as a way of not experiencing the whole and completeness and participation, right? Because you remember why did they get kicked out of they got kicked out of heaven for knowing something, for knowledge, for
the knowledge of good and evil,
the knowledge of good and evil. And the punishment was they had to leave the garden, but that's not all. Adam and Eve were going to have to work for their food from now on. And Eve, being the biggest culprit of all, being,
How dare
she was going to be in pain
How
for
dare
childbirth
she.
and everything like that. So it's really, man was going to toil and women were going to suffer, right?
I don't like that.
Think about that specialness. Think about that as being the special.
Right.
I've got to work for everything I have to do, and that's specialness. All this we have to participate in because we don't participate in what is whole and true and are part of the mind of God. We want to be separate. We want to be outside of Eden. We think it's better that way. So we place the sword of flaming sword on the outside of Eden and saying, no, you can't go there. We place our own little demon angel, whatever you want to say, says, you're bad and terrible and you can't go into heaven because of just the way you are.
Right. No wonder the program rejection exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And now we see it. Yeah.
So now we see it. Can we see this? The truth isn't frail.
Right.
We set up the angel with the flaming sword at heaven, and we can take it down. We can absolutely take it down, and we can see it. So she reminds us that we think safety and identity is locked up in our specialness. That it is our safety that keeps us. It is our specialness that keeps us safe. It is our specialness that is our identity. Which is the problem.
Right.
And how is the world working against what we want is the question. How we get to this idea. How do we see the world that we think, or the beliefs we have, in which the world, as it's just not just the way it is, is working against our own happiness, joy, and free, working against us. Specialness is the program that emphasizes difference.
Separation.
Yes. Yeah. Can we see it as being futile and not offering what we want?
Right.
It doesn't actually. It's really tempting. It's really, really very tempting because, like in many other words in A Course in Miracles, specialness, she flips it on its head and she makes this not a particularly good thing.
Right.
You're special. Right. A lot of us grew up with parents that said that we're special.
Meaning that we're
right. So that's a real we had so much pushback in my Wednesday night class, y'all. There's so much pushback against this special. But we do understand the opposite meaning of this word special now because we have Dana Carvey in our head as the church lady saying, oh, well, isn't that special? So we do know, we do have an understanding about this concept that special isn't always like where you want to be on the spectrum. And we do understand that what is the same amongst us is much more than what is different among us. And what is different among us is actually transient, isn't it? It has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
So that can't be true. That can't be your identity because it has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Right.
But we do this to other people as well. We say, I'm only going to be with you if you follow this script. I'm only going to be in the world or this part of the thing if all these people agree with me or all these people or what. That is where she brings up forgiving God.
Right.
She says, ask God. God asks for your forgiveness. Why in the world would God need you to forgive her? She doesn't, but we do.
Right.
You know?
That's what I was trying to get at, during the retreat and everything. And that's how it came to
We're
be.
creating our experiences.
Right.
But we don't create reality. We experience reality. We're not creating reality. So, are we ready to learn what works? Because a lot of us are mad at God, I've been there, mad at God for making a world of suffering.
Right.
For making a world that doesn't accept queer people. For making a world that shoots down black people in the street. For making a world on and on and on and on and on and on and on. We can have a laundry list of things that we would change about the world.
Mhm.
But all of those things are things that we create out of our own illusion.
Right.
What God is doing because there's pushback and we recognize that as suffering is saying, do you see that this doesn't work? What works, we're getting it, we're suffering because we're participating in what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So forgiving God for not making the world the way that we could enjoy it without waking up is kind of a useless journey, would be the way the Course was saying. But think about all the suffering, the anxiety and angst that you've suffered because the world is set up a certain way, because the world looks a certain way, and the world and all those things we've been thinking that they couldn't change. You can change. We can change. We can change our institutions.
Right.
We can change culture.
Mm-hmm.
We can change the way men and women operate in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are changeable because this is changeable. This has a beginning, a middle, and an end. This isn't me.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiving God for not being the illusion we want her to be.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiving God for not making it easy on us. And that's the story. Right?
Yeah.
It's so hard being you. Right?
Right.
Isn't it? Well, my mother used to say this to us as kids.
It's so hard.
She would say, like when my brother has when he was growing up had I don't know, world-class temper tantrums. So she never would she would sit, he had a temper tantrum, he wouldn't buy some cereal in the store, this famous story. And because all the kids' cereals are all on the bottom row for the kids to see that, you know that, right? And the kids are walking along. He goes, "I want that," and I need to have this. And my brother says, "Can we have it?" He goes, "No, we're not buying that." He had a meltdown, and my mother just sat down there on the grocery store floor with him, and said, "I know it's hard to be 4. I know it's you're never going to get the cereal, but it's okay to be upset because you have the cereal because you're not going to get what you want." My mother never stopped loving my brother because he was a world-class temper tantrum thrower. But why couldn't we live in a world where you didn't get diabetes from sugary cereal? Why couldn't we live in a world where you didn't get fat from ribs and Coors Light? Why couldn't I live in a world that was structured differently? Okay, that's what forgiving God is. So can you forgive the God that you made,
right,
or the God that you think would be better for you to have, that would be better for you,
mm-hmm.
and let it go? There's a way to do that, very simply, and I always say it, to listen to the voice that likes you. She will tell you that we're all one and the same and sharing all the power that is. And she'll even tell you how to act like it. I'm Reverend Glenn Morton Ganoy, your favorite anarchist preacher, and you're at Church with the 2 Drink Minimum.
Yay! All right, before we go, and I don't want to bleed into Jacqueline's time, I've got to share this video with you. Thank you, honey. That was
perfect.
really totally awesome. And this goes with it because what doesn't work? Manipulation.
Truly.
Of that example. So anyway, this video is from a club in downtown New York City, and it was right before we started Church of the 2 Drink Minimum. My pianist is somebody that I played with for a really long time, and he's got a few things to say at the beginning. So let's go.
All right. By the way, for anyone who'd like to get married here in the house tonight, we do have a reverend, and we have a whole lot of witnesses. We have a lot of reverends. curse of the Mormons with the multiple wives. I think there's a shotgun out back, so we're gonna have a shotgun listen. Oh my goodness, so what does that mean? That means this.
Soon-to-be husband is in the house. Where are you, bud?
Hey, bud! I'm still the bridesmaid.
That's a fine woman you got there.
Thank you very much.
I did it. All right. Oh, yeah. What are you looking at? Okay. So, for all of you that haven't written your wedding vows yet, I'll get it again. Well, these are mine that I'd like to share with you. Yes and no. I'm a control queen. Everything has got to be my way. I'm a control queen. Everything has got to be all the people in the world have a place, and that's the place where they should stay. Always said that straight is the path and narrow is the way. All the people in the world would just do as I say. They'd be okay. All my friends, they run around and they don't know what they should do with their lives. So I tell them what to do and then they push me aside. If all the people in my life would just do as I say, they'd be okay. 'cause I'm a control queen, and everything has got to be my way. I'm a control queen, and everything has got to be my way.
Yes, she is. No one knows more than me.
Thank you. I know we've run over.
We are
just a little.
angels, we are angels, and we're struggling to be human.
Thanks, everybody. I just
know.
really wanted you to see that. So we're staying, of course, for Reverend Jacqueline's program, Something Genuine, and we'll see you next week at 5 o'clock. So,
Forgive God.
yes. See you later.